Guys, so this happened. This is where we're going to go first today. Some of you guys are probably Social Distortion fans. I myself am a fan of the band Social Distortion. And their lead singer, Mike Ness, had an altercation recently. That kind of is an interesting topic for this show. So let's see what's going on. Social Distortion frontman Mike Ness accused of attacking Trump supporter. So you may have heard of this already. It's been in the news a little bit. But I thought it'd be a fun Music Monday topic. So I brought it to the show. So here's what happened. This happened in Sacramento, California. Which, by the way, quick plug, Sacramento, California. I will be there November 2nd with Graham Elwood as part of the Progressive Comedy Tour. You can get your tickets over at ronplacone.com. So Sacramento, California, I will be there November 2nd. Graham will be there too. You can grab tickets now at ronplacone.com. And San Francisco, don't worry, we didn't forget about you. We will be in San Francisco November 3rd. Again, tickets available, ronplacone.com. Okay, so a Trump supporter claims he was attacked by the lead singer of a punk rock band when he jeered the frontman's political statements. Tim Hildebrand of Galt. I wonder if he's related to David Hildebrand. Man, I gotta ask David that. David, the guy that ran for Senate. Now, David's a big progressive, so it'd be interesting if he had a really conservative brother, right? But David lives in Sacramento. This guy lives in Galt, I guess, which is nearby, I'm assuming. Both last name Hildebrand. That'd be interesting. Dave had a conservative younger brother. Anyway, Hildebrand says he grew up listening to the band's music. He's a Social Distortion fan. Never thought he'd leave bloody and bruised. All right, so there's a video of this, and we'll go ahead and watch the video. No, he says, I wasn't able to defend myself because the people in the crowd were holding me back. Hildebrand says the singer gave him 2 black eyes, a busted lip, and a concussion. Wow. Hildebrand says the singer started bad-mouthing Donald Trump in America, and the Republican farmer from Galt didn't like it. I stood pretty much with my silent protest with my middle finger up for the next 2 songs. Ness didn't like that. You can see him motion to Hildebrand. And then he takes off his guitar, and he leapt into the crowd. So, and in other articles I saw, he said something to Mike Ness like, I didn't come here to hear your politics, I came here to hear your music. Alright, so here's the video. We'll go ahead and watch it. You can't see much. We'll go ahead and watch it anyway. Alright, so there's Mike Ness motioning to the guy. So I guess he acknowledged the guy at this point. Alright, so now he's in the crowd. He punches the dude. It's kind of weird that this is just a cell phone video that's like very lo-fi, but somehow they managed to bleep stuff. Does that strike anyone else as weird? Alright, so you can't really see what's going on. Alright. So, that's, I guess, the gist of what happened here. Mike Ness was saying stuff about Donald Trump. I believe he called him a racist and said that it's a reflection of how racist this country is. That guy didn't appreciate it. He said something back. Then he stood there and he was flipping him off. And he said, I paid for your music, not your politics. Now, so, and full disclaimer, I'm a Social Distortion fan, and I have tickets to go see them in October. They're part of a music festival I'm going to. And honestly, I really hope they don't cancel any tour dates because I want to see them. But do I agree with his actions to go fight the guy? No, I don't think that was the right thing to do. On the same note, as a performer myself, I can honestly say I don't feel bad for this guy. Here's why. There's a couple reasons. First of all, even though the news reports make it seem like he just said one thing and then he stood there in silent protest going like that with his middle finger, I can tell you this, as somebody who has been performing for a long time now. Granted, comedy and music are different, but I can tell you this is pretty much a universal truth. Any heckler, they're going to keep doing it till they get your attention. So, this guy admitted that he said something. I'm sure he was continuously saying things. And in the exchange on the video, you can tell he was yelling something to Ness. It's not like he was... Like, Ness was clearly responding to something. Like, you could tell he was listening, he was trying to hear, and he was yelling back. So, I'm willing to bet this guy was heckling continuously to the point where he was distracting other people. So what Mike Ness should have done was he should have said, look, man, you're ruining other people's good times. You want to like Trump, that's your business. At which point people probably would have booed that guy. Because chances are, politically, this guy was in the minority. And then he could have said, look, either shut up and stop ruining other people's good time, or just get the fuck out. That's what he should have done. I don't think it was a good idea to go into the crowd. And this guy plans on pressing charges. But here's the thing. As far as this guy, it's one thing to stand by your convictions. I encourage standing by your convictions. I think that's a good thing, even if I disagree with them. But there's a difference between, or there's a fine line between standing by your convictions and knowing when to pick and choose your battles. And in this, for instance, you are at a punk rock show. Donald Trump is a massively unpopular president. If there's any space where they're probably going to unapologetically criticize the president, it's at a frickin' punk show. How do you not know that going into it? And is it really a battle worth having in this, for instance? I'll give you a comparison. Let's say, hypothetically, I was at a NASCAR event. This is very much a hypothetical, not my cup of tea. But let's say, for whatever reason, I was there, and they give some pro-war, super nationalistic jargon at the NASCAR event, which maybe they do that, maybe they don't. I have no clue. I'm just trying to, use an example, using an analogy that I feel is applicable. I'm not going to stand up. Say they say something nationalistic, pro-war at a NASCAR event. I don't know if they do that or not, but it's very plausible that they would. I'm not going to be like, that's not true, and do you know what we're doing in Yemen, and I'm protesting now. I'm not going to do that at a NASCAR event. Why? Because I will go to that event knowing that politically I'm very much in the minority. And I have nothing to gain by yelling my convictions at an event where a bunch of people are hammered and want to see a bunch of cars drive around in a circle really fast. I have nothing to gain by that, except for a black eye. Chances are there will be people in that audience that don't agree with what I have to say. That'll just beat the shit out of me, and I've gained nothing. That doesn't mean I'm not standing by my convictions. It means I'm picking and choosing my battles like a rational human being. So this guy, you're at a frickin' punk show. You should know, like, what do you have to gain by yelling at a singer? First of all, Mike Ness is 56 years old. He's been through some shit. If he has a point of view about something, you're not going to change his mind by yelling at him at his show. You could have if you felt that strongly about it, you could have sent an email after. Hey, Mike, I've been listening to you my entire life. And just so you know, I'm a Trump supporter. Could you maybe dial it back a little bit? Or explain why you're a Trump supporter. Tell him why. I bet that if he heard a message that, just because someone supports Trump doesn't mean they're a racist. Some of us have been struggling for 40 years, and we've seen our family struggle for 40 years to put food on the table. And we really like the idea of a non-interventionist. We really like the idea of jobs in our region. It was a lie. He didn't deliver on that, but we were so desperate that we took the gamble on him. And, it's really shitty when people call us racist just because we were desperate for jobs. So we bought what this guy was selling. Because, again, Donald Trump offered people snake oil. Hillary Clinton offered them no oil. So some people rolled the dice. I get it. I really do. That doesn't make them racist. Are some racist Trump supporters? Abso-freaking-lutely. Is that part of it? Of course. So, send him that email. But, again, and if all this guy did was just stand there with his middle finger up and didn't say anything, Mike Ness should have just ignored it. Honestly. He should, But you're playing music, adrenaline's high, you felt disrespected. Again, I wish he would have just told the guy to leave. Chances are this is going to go to court. I don't know if Social Distortion will cancel any tour dates over it. But again, this guy admitted that he said some stuff. And I can guarantee you, in my experience, when a heckler says they said some stuff, it means they said a lot. So I'm willing to bet that this guy was really being distracting. Because first of all, if he just stood there like this, there's a good chance Mike Ness wouldn't have even seen him. So, he says that he said some stuff. He definitely did, because by his own admission he did. I guarantee you he probably said a lot. It wasn't like he just made one statement and then, I guarantee you he was likely being distracting. So, I don't have much sympathy for the guy. You're allowed to disagree with a musician you came to see. But you know what? It's pretty lame if you then decide to ruin other people's good time. And, distract the show for everyone else. So, yeah. Alright, let's see what you guys are saying. Chris says, have the guy kicked out, simple. I agree. Jilly says, don't like the show, leave. I agree. Violence is not the answer. I agree with that. No, I wish he would have just kicked the guy out. Disagree here, Ron. You can't just assault people as a frontman of a band with thousands of fans helping you out. I never said you could. This band should be banned from venues, in my opinion. I don't know about that. I mean, if you banned every band that had an incident like this, there's a lot of bands that wouldn't be touring anymore. Bands easily kick out hecklers all the time. I agree with that. He should have just kicked the guy out. I never said I agreed with his actions. I did say I don't feel much sympathy for this guy. And I don't. Let's see. It's like what happened with Ben Weasel. I'm not familiar with that, but I've never heard anybody have a good thing to say about Ben Weasel. I'm not familiar with what you're referring to, Mike, but I've never heard anybody say something nice about Ben Weasel. He's apparently not a very nice guy. Punk was ruined after the skinheads took over. I don't think the skinheads took over. But yeah, that has been an issue for a long time now, since the 80s. If you're a performance artist and you don't know how to handle hecklers other than violence, then you shouldn't be in that line of work. I'm sure this wasn't the first heckler Mike Ness has dealt with. In this case, did he handle it poorly? Abso-freaking-lutely. But does that mean he should never get to perform again? I think that's a bit much. Musicians have the same right as anyone else to an opinion. Flipping the bird is antagonistic, but he could have easily had a security or crew member throw his ass out. Steve, you're absolutely right. Well, let me ask this. I agree that his actions were wrong. Mike Ness was totally 110% wrong. But do you guys feel sorry for this guy? See, I don't feel sorry for the guy because he was heckling. He was disrupting other people's good time. And it's like, dude, pick and choose your battles. I don't feel sorry for the guy. Was it wrong? Yes. You can still think Mike Ness's actions were wrong, but yeah, I don't have a violin to play for this guy. I just don't. If he would have gotten seriously injured, then that's different, but he didn't. When band members leave the stage to fight a fan personally, I think they lose the privilege to play. Fans should be kept safe at shows. All right, well, so should they. And they should be safe from other fans as well. I don't feel sorry for him. If the guy didn't want to get into politics, then he should have just enjoyed the music, but he wanted to engage in a political debate. He wanted attention. I mean, that's the thing. He wanted attention. He really in some ways, this guy got what he wanted. He wanted attention really bad, and he got it, and it made the news. So, yeah, I don't feel bad for him. I just don't. So, and if you do, all power to him. Maybe you've never been heckled before. If you feel bad for this guy, I promise you've never been heckled before in your life. You've never been heckled before. And that's fine. That's okay. But, we all assess things based on our own experiences. And I can tell you, this guy really wanted attention. He got what he wanted. So I don't feel bad for him. If he wants to support Trump at a punk show, let him go see Fear. Good callback, Brian. Much appreciated, my man. Fear was a punk band that in the 80s, they supported Reagan because they wanted to just let Reagan burn it all down. Now, was this logic faulty? Abso-freaking-lutely. And were they wrong? Yes, because guess what? Reagan didn't burn it all down. Didn't happen. Fear was wrong. And in my opinion, never that good. I was never a big Fear fan. There were always, there's some better punk bands from that era, in my opinion. I like Fear, don't get me wrong. But, yeah. All right. So, that's about all I have to say about it. Disagree with Mike Ness's actions, but that guy's been through some shit. That guy's been through a lot. And honestly, that's another thing. If you're gonna heckle somebody, do you really want it to be the dude who sings about addiction and being in jail and has had a life and a half? Do you really want to heckle that guy? And this fan had been listening to Social Distortion's music for years, he said. So he knows what they're all about. Do you really want to heckle Mike Ness? This guy clearly, he probably had an idea of how this was going to end. And he did it anyway. He desperately wanted attention. And he got it. Why would I feel bad for somebody who got what he wanted?
Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and